Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride.
All right, party peoples of the interwebs, Kamala Harris's interview with Bret Baier from the other night, it was a 25-minute ad campaign for Donald Trump.
Well, you know what? You got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Viva Frei, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler. Now, we live stream commentated the interview between Kamala Harris and Fox News' Bret Baier. It was glorious, but not everybody has 2 hours to watch a live stream of someone commentating an interview. Not everybody has the time to watch an hour-and-a-half recap the day after, so I'm putting together this concise summary of that train wreck of an interview that was nothing shy of a 25-minute ad campaign for Donald Trump. Stick around to the end of this vlog, and there will be a 1 minute and 55-second supercut of Kamala Harris deflecting to Donald Trump throughout that interview. It was a joke. If you were playing a drinking game, taking a shot every time Kamala Harris said, Donald Trump, you'd be unconscious within 5 minutes. Don't do it, never do it. It's a bad idea. But the amount of times that Kamala Harris deflected to Donald Trump, it's what a child does when they want to get out of trouble. They blame it on their sister. They blame it on their brother. Oh, did you do your homework? No, I didn't do my homework. But Timmy over there, he drank straight from the milk jar. I don't know. It was like a child trying to deflect from responsibility for what she has done during her time as VP in an administration where she was admittedly an integral part of it, because we all suspect that Biden has been demented from the very beginning. She has been an integral part in the Biden-Harris administration, and now she's trying to pawn off every single failure on Donald Trump from years ago. And it's not just that Kamala Harris is an idiot. She is genuinely a DEI, dumb, evil idiot. It's that her sycophants are equally dumb. Mark Cuban, equally dumb. Mark Cuban, M. Cuban. The beautiful thing about the Bret Baier interview is that Kamala Harris understood and responded to each question. She used examples of policies. She gave real-world context. When Bret went hard after her, she didn't call him names. She didn't quit the interview. She didn't make things up. She never once complained the questions were tough. She never played the victim card. She didn't lose her temper. She didn't take the bait to diminish or talk down to Trump supporters. She stood up to him with force and never backed down. He has been the president and campaigning for 9 years. Kamala Harris caught up to him in just 100 days. That speaks volumes. It's why people want to vote for her. That's why so many Republicans and independents are supporting her. She is everything her opponent is not and never will be. Strong, smart, and measured. Mark, I don't know what you're on, but I want a little bit of it, unless it's a full frontal lobotomy, which I suspect is what you've got. You're going to watch the highlights, and by the end of this analysis, you are going to say Mark Cuban has had a full frontal lobotomy. But don't worry, he's not the only one, because it really seems like everyone in Kamala Harris's orbit has been full frontal lobotomized. Here's a gem of a tweet from a dude named Ian Sams, a white dude for Harris, it would seem. Ian Sams, at Ian Sams, spokesman for at Kamala Harris, Appalachian expat, Bama alum. Ian Sams, at Ian Sams, those eyeballs emoji, and I still don't know what they mean. VP Harris's Fox ratings blow Trump's out of the water. 7.1 million viewers for Harris and Baier, 3 million for Trump Faulkner Town Hall. In fact, VP Harris has as many viewers as Trump's Woman Town Hall yesterday, plus Hannity's September Town Hall combined. You full frontal lobotomized white dude for Harris jackass, you understand that's not always and necessarily a good thing? A whole hell of a lot of people crane their necks to have a look at the accident on the highway, and that interview was a train wreck of an accident on the highway. But don't take my word for it. Here are my select highlights from that train wreck of an interview.
And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
First of all, suggesting that Donald Trump wants to turn the military on the people of the United States of America is a wild accusation, especially in light of an apparent amendment to a directive from the Department of Defense, which apparently authorizes the military to use lethal force on the citizens. Kamala Harris, when you point a finger at somebody else, there are 3 pointing right back at you. And remember that amazingly insightful analysis from Mark Cuban where he said she never lost her temper, she never got angry. Oh my goodness, watch that clip. And it reminds me of the scene from Spaceballs. Yes, Kamala Harris, you are ugly when you're angry.
Those flashing eyes, those flushed cheeks, those trembling lips. You know something, Princess? You are ugly when you're angry.
Kamala's inability to answer a straightforward question such as how many illegal immigrants have crossed the border under your tenure itself should be disqualifying.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number, do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point.
She is incapable of answering the question because she knows how damning it's going to be. It's in the tens of millions that crossed the border under her tenureship, that crossed the border under the Biden-Harris administration. That number quadrupled the year they took office. It's outrageous, and it's not just that it quadrupled. Some of those illegal aliens killed American citizens, and what was Kamala Harris's answer for that? I'm so sorry for your loss. I really am, sincerely, but I'm not going to do a damn thing about it.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss. Sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in
her?
all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
And a gem of a gem that shall echo through the ages as the worst soundbite ever when Kamala Harris says, Brett, come on, you know what I'm saying. And Brett says to her, no, I don't understand a damn thing you're saying.
More than
People
70%
are
of people
exhausted.
tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen.
And another refusal to answer a question that itself should be disqualifying if there were any political justice in this world. Her refusal to answer when she became aware of Joe Biden's obvious dementia.
Donald Trump
Actor George
is,
Clooney said
and
within a
if
few
you
minutes of
watch
talking to President
Donald
Biden at a
Trump-
fundraiser that he thought this
Brett,
was not the same
Brett.
Joe Biden that we saw on the debate
Donald
stage.
Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security.
Because Kamala Harris was out on the trail when Joe was still running, saying he's good for another 4 years. I see this guy every day. He is sharp. He's cogent, as Joe Scarborough said, although she never said cogent. But she sold him as being cogent. She said he is good for another 4 years. And then 2 months later, she stabbed him in the back and stole his 14 million primary votes. And her refusal to answer the question, you didn't have any concerns. You didn't have any concerns about Joe Biden's mental acuity. What is her answer? The American people have concerns about Donald Trump. Everything was a distraction, a deflection to Donald Trump. She is awful. She is awful.
You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump.
It was an abject, unmitigated disaster. A train wreck of an interview, a proverbial car accident on the highway, and when everyone says, look at how many people are looking at that car accident, it's not for good reasons, Ian Sams. There is literally not a 60-second section from that interview that is not an ad campaign for Donald Trump, but congratulations, Kamala Harris. I really think you should do more of these. Ian Sams, if you think it was so successful, line her up every day. Do more of these interviews because they're paying dividends to the Donald Trump campaign. And as everyone with half a brain knows, apparently Kamala Harris does not have half a brain. As they say in marketing, you don't want to give free advertising for your competitor, so you don't announce your competitor's name in your own commercials. Watch how many times Kamala Harris deflects to Donald Trump and says Donald Trump. It's an amazing thing. Kamala Harris is nothing but critique of Donald Trump. And in case you had any lingering doubts, her critique of Donald Trump is all lies. The suckers and losers lie. The fine people lie. The Agenda 2025 lie. The national abortion ban lie. All of her critique against Donald Trump is is a filthy, filthy lie. But enjoy the supercut. But before you enjoy the supercut, make sure that you have liked, shared, and subscribed, and then you've got notifications turned on. It takes 5 seconds. Go down there and do it, and it really helps the channel grow. If you want to support the channel, great merch at vivafrei.com. If you want to support the community, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Sunday night, every Sunday, 6 o'clock, with Robert Barnes, Viva and Barnes Law Extravaganza. It's an amazing show. Most importantly, exercise, eat healthy, sunlight, talk to people in real life, and now enjoy this 2-minute supercut of Kamala Harris advertising for Donald Trump. Peace out, peeps. Booyah!
And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a
which
number?
is-
Do you
but-
think it's
but-
1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point.
6 Democrats
Donald
voted.
Trump,
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law. And it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. Donald Trump's administration, Trump campaign. Well, you know
Surgeries
what? You got to
happened
take
during
responsible for what
his
happened in your
presidency.
administration. I
But you have a
think
say in it.
Donald Trump turning the page from the last decade in which we have been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump.
You've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office. The former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean.
He is unstable?
He is unstable. He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You
and
told
we
many
should all be
interviewers
concerned.
that concerns raised.
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And
but
Donald Trump
But you
is,
talked about it
but
in a
if
few
you
minutes of
watch
talking to President
Donald
Biden at a
Trump-
fund on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions
Let's
in
go back to
oil
Donald
profits.
Trump. And Donald Trump, not to mention
Madam
how
Vice
Donald
President,
Trump has,
all of this money
has treated
that
and
has
talked
gone
about
in the
America's
past few
military
years.
and military service people,
Critics
calling
say
them
that it goes
suckers
to
and
Hezbollah.
losers.
Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things
There's more to say. I have much more
there
to
are
say.
a lot, Madam Vice President.
And
they're giving me a hard rap
Well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.